And then we go to the NFC. As of the moment in time, we got the Eagles, who are the 1 seed. If that remains the same, they'd be having that first round bye. And then first matchup would be Vikings and Seahawks.
Yeah, at home, I love the Vikings. I feel like if you're the Vikings, that's the best matchup you could hope for, especially Geno Smith. The Seattle Seahawks team doesn't have a ton of playoff experience, even though Pete Carroll does. So I think that's the best matchup for the Vikings. And I think it'd be a competitive game, but I would have Minnesota coming out on top.
I'd have to agree with that because Seahawks are a great story. However, I still think that they're a team that's playing on a lot of house money.
Right.
And so Vikings, people want to say Kirk Cousins isn't clutch in the playoffs. We haven't really seen him in the playoffs much.
Yeah, could get a 1 o'clock game too.
Yeah, I think the Vikings are the better team overall. Seahawks are a great story, but give me the Vikings in that game.
Yeah, then we would have the 49ers, who are the 3 seed right now, matching up against the Giants. Another ideal matchup. No fear of Daniel Jones. They would definitely be able to handle that offense, especially in San Francisco. The Giants would get rolled in that game.
Oh, yeah. There's no question. I mean, who can really defend that? 49ers with all that star power? No chance. Giants would get rolled. And then we have Bucks and Cowboys.
Yeah, I think that would be the most competitive matchup. I think the other 2 games are going to be blowouts. But right now I can't pick against Tom Brady. He's undefeated since Giselle went down. Seemed like he was going through a lot earlier in the season. I have faith the Bucks can turn it around, and I don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to score enough. I think the Bucks defense is going to be able to stop the run. They can definitely contain CeeDee Lamb in a playoff situation. And I just don't trust Mike McCarthy and Dak. I mean, this is a Cowboys team where it's like, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. And I've seen Brady do this thing over and over and over, and you'd be a fool to pick against him.
You know what else I've seen over and over and over again? The Cowboys choking in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They've won 2 playoff games since 1995. So I'm not going to pick the Cowboys. And I'm also not going to bet against Tom Brady was the most playoff wins. More playoff wins than 28 NFL teams and 14 NFL teams combined. So, no, that would be Tom Brady by a mile.
Yeah. Yeah, then we have teams in the hunt in the NFC. And right now it's the Commanders, Falcons, and Lions. I really think the only serious teams in the hunt right now are the Commanders and the Lions. And I do think the Giants are going to fall off a little bit and start losing some games towards the end of the year, go on a losing streak there. The Lions have a pretty easy schedule, and so do the Commanders. The Giants, though, have to play the Eagles again twice, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they have to play the Cowboys again and the Commanders. So it's like, I feel like the Commanders are going to leapfrog the Giants, and then the Seahawks and the Lions, I feel like, are going to be competing for the last spot there. So I do think the Commanders and the Lions are going to, one of those teams is going to make the playoffs, and then the Seahawks or the Giants, one of them's not going to make it. But if I had to pick a team to leave, knocking out the Giants, team to step in, right now I'd have to go the Commanders, but I do think the Lions are going to have an outside shot of making it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ideally, I'd have Lions and Seahawks in there.
Yeah.
I think the Lions would most likely be the 7th seed. So they'd most likely face the Vikings, which, talk about a game that 2 NFC North teams that always play close. That would be a great matchup. And then let's say hypothetically the Seahawks face the 49ers. You'd have 2 divisional games. I think that'd be awesome for the NFL. So that's what I hope happens. But in this moment in time, with my playoff seedings, it would be the Eagles and Bucks and Vikings and 49ers, because I didn't pick any upsets in this particular bracket.
Yeah.
And Bucks and Eagles, again, it goes down to the faith in Brady. The Eagles, I don't think they'd be necessarily a first-round exit. However, I saw how they matched up with the Bucks last year. Bucks were a lot different team, and so were the Eagles. However, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I still need to see more from the Bucks before I can put my arms around them.
Mm-hmm.
But if they play like they've played the last few weeks, I think I'd still take the Bucks there just based on their defense. And I think they know the holes on the Eagles team. And kind of where I stand with that.
Yeah, I think they can get it done. And then we have Niners and Vikings. I think we finally get what we deserve in Tom Brady versus Jimmy Garoppolo. Tom Brady versus the 49ers in the playoffs. It's been teased the past few years. We were supposed to get it last year. Didn't get it. Bucks had a horrendous first half versus the Rams, and then we called a cover zero blitz with Cooper Kupp and let him run wide open. What are you doing, Todd Bowles? So it's like we should have had it last year. I think it's going to be 49ers Bucks in the conference championship, and I think 49ers are going to pull it out. And my Super Bowl right now is going to be 49ers versus Dolphins.
I'd have a rematch of Chiefs and 49ers.
Chiefs and 49ers. Okay. Yeah, I think there's a good shot that if it's not the Dolphins, it's going to be either Chiefs versus Niners or Chiefs versus Bucks, even though I would love to see Joe Burrow versus Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And then if I had to pick at the moment, I think I'd probably pick the Chiefs. It would be tough, though.
Yeah. If the Niners get there, I'd pick them to win. Against the Chiefs. I do think the Dolphins, though, would give the 49ers a lot of problems, especially Mike McDaniels knows Kyle Shanahan and his tendencies. But that would be an interesting matchup. But the playoffs are looking super competitive on the AFC side so far. Going to be really competitive in the NFC once we get to the divisional round. But this is going to be another great playoff run. I think the teams in the playoffs are a lot better than last year. Last year we had some duds for sure. But I don't think there's going to be any bad teams in the playoffs.